um, is kind of a misuse of time, and how we want to honor everyone's time. And we want to just keep it where people can be the most productive in whatever lane that God gave them. So you're going to learn a few acronyms here. I think that's going to be a big plus. So now let me, since it's streaming live on YouTube now, so let me switch over and post this on Facebook so you guys can watch it if you're on Facebook as well. And hopefully it won't be that long. And then we'll see if the money starts coming in. So today is Tuesday. Every Tuesday is Education Day. Every Tuesday is Education Day. So we are, a lot of what I'm about to present to you here is new education for you. And so I hope that it's going to benefit you, edify your spirit, and hopefully get you to take action. That's the goal, is to get people to take action. So let me start out by saying that earlier today, I won't state the city, but I stepped outside myself and I told a news reporter that despite the violence they continue to see in this one city, that we have the solution to the violence in their city. I normally don't like speaking like that because I understand how people get defensive. So, but I did it. And I did it because we're getting to a place where we're 51 days away from the most deadliest kickoff to the summer, where a lot of our people get shot and killed. And, I just was bold with it, but I also wanted to back it up. And so that's what you guys are about to get, my justification for making that statement. BNT is the term, BNT, BNT. That's the term that I'm using here to help explain what I meant by that statement when I made the statement to this city. Because here's what will happen. What will happen is that person or whoever they share with will say, ego will step in and they'll say, well, who do you think he is? That's what will end up happening. Who do you think he is? So I want to break that down. BNT. The first thing is, when you look at the homicides and the violence, it's happening all over urban America. And so what makes one city think that stands for bigger than your city? So the B is for bigger than your city. And that's one thing that I'm saying to this reporter when they say, well, who are you? What makes you think you got the solution? Because the solution isn't going to be done in one city. It's a national problem. It's going to require a national response. And that's what the N is. So B is for bigger than their city. That's one reason why we say we got the solution and that they should try it. The N is for national response. The current national response is too politicized. What I mean by that, the national response on the Republican side is more enforcement, more law enforcement, more tougher rules and regulations, holding people, the broken window theory. That's what the Republican response is. The Democrat response is more resources, helping people, making sure that we take away stress. So those are the two responses. And in both of those responses, we're missing the Black cultural aspect of it, which to me is critical, because even if you gave every Black person a job, because of the cultural breakdown, we'll give our money to the people who don't care about us, and the money will leave. So we'll look good, smell good, feel good, but the money will be building up other people. We won't be building legacy. So what government got to do with telling us that? That's something we got to do for self. So that's number two, the N, the national response is too inadequate. You can put National Guard everywhere. That still won't stop the killing. It'll just move it. Then the last one is T. T is time. And I'm 46 years old. I've been dealing with this for a long time. And unfortunately, the T is the time they spend right now going around in circles. Same thing. New administrations, they come in saying the same thing, because what else is there for them to say? They're going to say the same thing. More police, we need the community to get involved. That's what you hear 40 years now, almost 50 years now. So BNT, bigger than their city, national response is too politicized, and they're going to spend their time in their silo going around in circles. That's what I told this report. Now, The question is, well, who are you? What are y'all gonna do that's different? And I'm glad you asked, as Mark Allen used to say, legendary Mark Allen. Here's the key. And if you take BNT, bigger than their city, national response to politicize, time going around in circles, and you look at what are we really dealing with when we talk about violence in the US? We're dealing with isolation, starvation, exploitation. Those are the three things happening, unfortunately, in these neglected neighborhoods, Black neighborhoods. That's what's done to these Black neighborhoods. HAB is the contaminated box. That's what's inside of us as a result of ISC. And the contaminated box is hurt, abuse, and bitterness. HAB, hurt, abuse, and bitterness. So when you think about HAB and ISC, what's the solution? And for me, and for what we've done here over the last 26 years, is we've decided to build horizontally. And the opposite of horizontal is vertical. We chose not to build vertical. So 26 years in the game now, our mindset is, I want to see what you've done. I want to see. And that's a natural reaction. People want to see. And what I'm saying to people is that I want to see is counter to those people of faith, people who believe in a higher power, because that's the substance of things hoped for that you haven't seen. That's what faith is. And so I question, where's the faith? Are you saying that unless you see something, you're not going to believe something? Because if so, that's a premise that we won't be able to overcome, because our horizontal organizing meant we've chosen 26 years to go city by city, build relationships, so one day we can all come together. Others have chosen to fight issues. I'm fighting education. I'm fighting school closures. I'm fighting safety. I'm fighting youth. I'm fighting prison. I'm fighting. And those are vertical fights. Those are things you can see people coming together to deal with that. What I'm arguing is that I've been around 40 years, 46 years. I've seen that playbook before. As long as we're fighting, going vertical, fighting, what are we building horizontally? And I question, this is the big horizontal fight. What has prevented 40 plus million Black people from coming together in this nation and putting together a dollar? To me, that's the biggest indictment on the Black community, is that we haven't found a way to pull together $1, just $1. Forget the $12 a year we talking about, just $1. And it's because horizontally, we're not connected. We're not connected on our blocks. We damn sure not connected nationwide. And if we are connected, what does that look like? And this is where we come in at. Because we have CUDS. CUDS is the CUDS. Only the Post Office and the Census Bureau have CUDS as well. So we're the third group to have CUDS. And what CUDS is, Centralized Uniform Delivery System, it's the ability to reach everyone block by block. What do the Census Bureau do? They reach everyone every 10 years. What do the Post Office do? They reach everyone house by house. So we've built that. And that's why it took 26 years, because that takes horizontal. That's building capacity. So instead of fighting issues that will polarize people, husband and wives don't agree on the same issues, we've chosen to organize horizontally. So now, that takes time. You lose people because people like, you've been at it, I don't see nothing happening, I'm moving on to fight some issues. I need a stimuli. I need something to make me feel like we're doing something. So we respect that. The key is you can walk into government at the same time. We hope you would have kept donating your $1 a month, $12 a year, so we can keep building horizontally. So that's kind of the background. I'm glad I gave that to you. I gave you the internal fight, the external fight. I gave you why no city will be able to fix it themselves. So now I'm telling you what we're doing to turn it around. Where we are right now, last year I felt the same way, but COVID hit and that took us out. But I'm on my way to Chicago, Gary, Indiana, for 4 months. I believe we're going to now be able to bring together the horizontal, all the 20 cities we built, 20 countries in Africa. I think we're going to be able to bring that together financially, so then we can have the salary, so we can have the fuel in the car to go. Right now, we built this beautiful vehicle, but there's no gas in it, so it can't go and fulfill its function. So whenever you hear me, the chief executive, the person God allowed to put this together based on my Navy experience and all that stuff, and I say that humbly, when you see me as the CEO put this together and you hear me talking about the $12, you hear me talking about $1 or pennies to Africa, okay? Please know, when we talk about people and their time and best use for people in their time, if the CEO It's talking about $12. We're not using the CEO's time to the best because there are fights that have to be had. There are conversations and battles that have to be had with Black people who are sitting in high places connected to Fortune 500 companies who's representing you. They telling these corporations how to help urban neighborhoods. And what they're telling them, they don't have the key. They don't have the solution. They're up there misrepresenting us. I don't think intentionally, but just out of ignorance. They're telling these corporations it's all about jobs. They're telling them it's about development in the neighborhood. And granted, we do need economic development, but we also have to have personal development. Personal development comes first, because if you economically develop a poor neighborhood, them people gonna have to leave. It's called gentrification. See it in Harlem, see it in DC. So you can economically develop a community and then them people be gone because they are like a house that you're trying to heat with the windows still open. The people have this hole, which is giving money to people who don't care about us. And as long as we do that, we're going to continue to see this big old lack of our community coming together. So you need a person like me having conversations with the CEOs of these big corporations, Coca-Cola here, Home Depot. Because if they continue with the people who how do I say it, are trying to be more, trying to assimilate more instead of saying that, no, we're going to be true to our culture, because everyone benefits from a strong culture. When you go to Chinatown, you want to be in Chinese restaurants. You want to eat Chinese food. You go to Mexico, you don't want to go in there and get this blend. Most people don't. You go there because you want to benefit from that culture. But if we're assimilating with everyone and we can't have a strong Black culture, where do you go to get experience our culture if it's all diluted because we want to fit in, versus paying true and being homage to your culture, which is what sometimes our Fortune 500 companies tap into Black leaders who are more in the mindset of assimilating instead of being strong in their culture. So if I'm talking about $12, I'm not having these conversations with these corporate giants about how best to put resources in our communities. And the argument would be, well, why have to be you? And I would say this, because of CUDS, because the centralized uniform delivery system, we literally right now, because of the horizontal organizing, we're so potent right now that any resources into us can triculate to 20 US cities immediately. We have the Cash App names and titles of people in all 20 cities. And what that means is we can put some resources into Black America immediately. And those people are being connected with people in their cities. They're connected people in Chicago. So you got this whole integration plan that's to die for. It's a Rolodex out of this world. And so anyway, the message is, if I'm talking about $12, I'm spending time fighting for $12, convincing our hurt abused and bitter people to do $12 a year. I'm not having a conversation in these corporate boardrooms with people who are making decisions on how to help us. And that money is going to people who don't even live in the city no more. They move far away from the war zone. So this is called FECG, F-E-C-G, F-E-C-G. This stands for, these are 4 ways that this thing is going to take off. One of these 4 ways, or possibly all these ways. The F is for funder. So this can take off with a funder coming in, putting up the $12 million that I say we need. That's one way. It don't have to be that much. It can be anything from $5,000 up. So one funder could come in, Tyler Perry or Oprah, someone big. The E is for exposure. With the right amount of exposure, it can tap into these ultra affluent people who might, make the link and support what we're doing. The C is for connection. The right connection. And Sister Cheryl Blackman just did an excellent job connecting me with a moving shake in Mississippi that's going to pay dividends. So connection, C is connection, and G is the grind. And this is what I've been focused on doing. And I've been doing this for 26 years. And this is where I get the most passion from, is the grind. The grind is having conversations person by person about this $12, about the $144, et cetera, because that's where the real power is. You heard me talk about $1 million is not as important as $5,000 to us. And the reason I say that is because of scale. $1 million in Chicago equals just $50,000 for all 20 zip codes. You're not gonna change and turn our communities around with 50K. However, with $5,000, we get to hire 3 people that handles whatever jurisdiction we got that from. while we can go and get $5,000 from every other of the other 20 jurisdictions. And every one of them jurisdictions we get 5,000 from, 3 more people is put to work. Them 3 people working with the other 3 people working. Now they start working on their sister city. So it's scalable. It goes widespread, the 5K, because it's multiplying 3 workers every time we get the 5K. So here's the final part. Here's the final part. 35 businesses doing $144. Harold Davis passed last year. Harold Davis and I, before he passed, was talking about how last summer was going to be the breakthrough summer because he couldn't believe it was taking me this long to get 35 entrepreneurs or business people to put up $144 for 1 year. Couldn't believe that. So he said, "Si, I'm gonna work with you. We gonna knock that out. If that's what you say you need, I'm gonna make sure you get it." COVID struck and our brother transitioned. So he's looking down at us now as we continue this fight. What I'm saying right now is the $144 leaders. And we just had 2 superstars come on, Cheryl Price with 60 Second and Ashley. She has the insurance brokerage there, so insurance needs go to her, please. And then we got our sister Patrice Thomas. She's selling property. She's a realtor. And all the other 15 people businesses who stepped up with the $144. 144 represents 12 people's $12. So it's consistent with what we already do. But what it does, it speeds up us being able to get the $12 from 1 million people in Chicago. When you got these expediters, which are the businesses doing 12 people's $12, it's quicker because we get the money we need to hire the staff to do the work of having the tough conversations with the residents of releasing the $12. So 144s are expediters. They speed up the whole process. We need expediters in Detroit, St. Louis, Milwaukee. We need expediters in Miami, Birmingham, and New Orleans. Everywhere we go, we need these expediters because we need to put 3 people to work to make this vision go horizontally. That's what we need to do. So what I'm asking you to do now, and we have 50 people who already done the $100 30-day loan. We got 2 groups of that. So we got a $10,000 bank or internal financing capacity. And so I've been slowly talking to those $100 people about taking the stretch and covering some of our Black businesses that's taking a little bit longer than we want to see the vision and come on board with the 144. Some of the reasons with our businesses is they being inundated. We know how tough it is for them. So hearing about this 144 and they can't understand it all, they just put it on the back burner. So business is not saying no, they just saying, all right, we'll come back because they can't process all this stuff I'm talking about. So what I'm asking you to do now is, are you in position to cover a Black business, cover it for them? You come in and say, hey, I'm doing the 144 for now. And the beauty is this 144, you're getting it back, minus your $12, you're getting it back. So it's really about how do we expedite getting 12 people's $12. So what I'm looking for right now, my plea right now is I need 17 people, 17 more people to say, I'm gonna do the 144 so that I can cover a business. So Si, you got this first group of 35 Black businesses doing this first 5,000. So I can then turn my attention to Gary, Indiana, 35 Black businesses. Then that means 3 people in Gary working, along with 3 people in Chicago working. Then I'm gonna turn my attention to 35 in Atlanta. So you see how this goes? We're going all over, building this capacity and bandwidth of putting 3 people to work. And everywhere we're going, they're organized. We're getting the cities more and more integrated. We're connecting people so we can turn this thing around. So my number is 312-405-8844. It's 312-405-8844. We need to solidify this. April 20th is I'll be there in the Midwest for 4 months. We want to really use this summer to get this thing fully going. Now that we got the horizontal part locked in, now we ready to go vertical. So please, $144 people, 312-405-8844. Thanks, peace. Please share the video.